Do you remember right here on this show when I told you about the news about how tight Steve Bannon had been to Jeffrey Epstein, who's a friend of mine? It brought me no joy to report that news, but I did it because it's my job. And we named, for the first time right here on the Megyn Kelly Show, former Obama White House counsel Catherine Rumler as a close confidant of Jeffrey Epstein. And we saw her all over his correspondence after having seen her in a tape. We saw her or heard her in an audio tape that we were provided. Remember a couple years ago when I said this year, I think you're going to hear from Jeffrey Epstein directly? And then I later told you it was on tape. Tapes exist out there. Turns out Steve Bannon has 15 hours of them. 15 hours of them. That's how he is defending his behavior with Epstein, saying it was all as part of his role as a filmmaker, which he actually is, and a journalist trying to get all this tape, which he says is going to result in a film to be released within the next year. In any event, she was very tight with him. It was if you read any of this correspondence, you'll see that she loved Jeffrey Epstein. And okay, you should come out and say we were friends. I didn't know he's a dirtbag. It was hard because she was super friendly with him post the Miami Herald investigation, and she couldn't say that. I guess if I were Catherine, I would have said, let me be honest. I didn't believe that he was some mass pedophile or sex trafficker. I didn't believe it. I knew he had pleaded out these two ultimately minor counts in 2008. Then I saw the Miami Herald thing, and I thought it was an unfair hit piece by a fucking lunatic, Julie Brown, who's a hard leftist. And she's a lunatic because she's so partisan. That's why I say that. She's a decent reporter. But she's just so nasty. She'll only go on these left-wing podcasts. She won't talk to a conservative audience and let her reporting be tested or herself be tested, which is very undermining. Anyway, maybe that's what Rumler thought. I don't trust Julie K. Brown. I don't believe in her. I actually have known Jeffrey for a long time, and I believe in him. Oh, my God, I was so wrong. That would be a way out. But instead, all these people downplay or they deny or they go underground. Well, she's caught red-handed now that we've seen the papers, and she's out of her job as the Goldman Sachs top lawyer because it's all in black and white now. The prominent CEO in charge of Dubai's ports. This guy's very well known, apparently. He's got tons of dough. He lost his job after the files showed he emailed Epstein about women. I mean, that underplays what's in the files about him. He didn't just email Epstein about women. He's talking about dreaming about the Russian woman again and like the age of the woman. We'll get into it. And Casey Wasserman, the chairman of the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, is now facing calls to step down after having already announced he's going to sell his agency in the wake of this scandal involving his name in the Epstein files, for having flirtatious emails with Epstein's partner in crime, Ghislaine Maxwell, all the way back in 2003. That's ridiculous. Unless there's something more, I don't get that controversy. In 2003, he was supposed to Karnak his way through to understanding, when nobody knew back then, that Jeffrey Epstein was a sex trafficker and Ghislaine Maxwell helped him and actually did some bad things herself. Like, he was supposed to know that. That's a weird one. There's a lot of weird ones. Part of this thing feels Salem witch hunty, and we don't want to go there. Okay. We already made that mistake the original time in Salem. And then again in the Me Too era. Like, can we not just assume everybody's a pedophile just because their name might show up in the Epstein files? Okay. Then let's not presume every single one of these women who says she's a victim is a woman who's been a victim either. Like, normally those claims have to be tested in law, and the vast majority of them have not been. Now, in the women's defense, he's dead, so it's kind of hard. But let's be clear. The women should have to be identified, in my view. I don't agree with the anonymity of this release. They blacked out all the women's names. Okay, so we just have to accept victim. But we get to hear the guys' names, but not the women. That's not fair. That's basic due process being denied to the men whose names are in here. In any event, one thing's clear. President Trump says he's been exonerated and that it's the Clintons who have been wrapped up further in the scandal, and he's not wrong.
I have nothing to hide. I've been exonerated. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. They went in hoping that they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein was fighting that I don't get elected with some author, a sleazebag, by the way. And I've been totally exonerated. No, they're getting pulled in, and that's their problem. I don't know, they're going to have to see what happens. But I watched her in Munich, and she seriously has Trump derangement syndrome.
Well, I mean, how is he wrong? But perhaps none of these global elites and celebrities have much to worry about beyond reputational damage, because Deputy Attorney Todd Blanche signaled earlier this month no further prosecutions are coming.
I can't talk about any investigations, but I will say the following, which is that in July, the Department of Justice said that we had reviewed the files, the quote Epstein files, and there was nothing in there that allowed us to prosecute anybody. We then released over 3.5 million pieces of paper, which the entire world can look at now and see if we got it wrong. And so it's not performative, and I respectfully disagree with that statement. We were ordered to do so by Congress and then by the President of the United States, and that's what we did. And let me, I said it on Friday, this Justice Department, the FBI, DHS, we have gone after more sex traffickers, more child pornographers, more men who have done harm to children and young women than any administration in history. And so we need to separate those two ideas, the fact that there's the Epstein files and whether there's anybody there that we can go after, and the work that we are doing every day, which is extraordinary, and we will continue to do that.
International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There is a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it is a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to the number 989898. Joining me now for reaction and additional insights are three guests who have been meticulously going through the Epstein files to determine what they do and do not show. MK Media's own Emily Jashinsky. She hosts After Party with Emily Jashinsky. Program note for you. It's now live at 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube on Mondays and Wednesdays. 9 p.m., that's tonight at 9 p.m. Used to be 10:30, right? And now it's 9 because she's tired, just like the rest of us. And she also hosts the MK Wrap-Up Show right here on SiriusXM after our show. We also have Ryan Grimm, Counterpoint's co-host and reporter for Drop Site News, and Michael Schellenberger, founder of the Public News Substack. All three have broken major stories from the files so far and are great journalists. And they join me now for a deep dive. Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, so how do you like my summary of where we are? Ryan, let me start with you because we don't get to talk to you that often. How do you like my summary of what we've gleaned from the files so far? And feel free to addend to it.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in that summary. One thing I'd pick up on is this complaint that we're now seeing. I think we can talk about this a bunch. Complaint that we're seeing from some elites about a lack of due process. And is this actually a kind of a moral panic? Are people getting caught up in this who don't deserve to? And there's that conversation, and then there's also the why. Like, let's say you believe that is true, why is that happening? And I think, and I would put forward that it's because the public recognizes that there is an elite class, which Asaf and Rokana have called the Epstein class, which is beyond accountability. It operates it operates with total impunity. And so the public is left with only their ability to generate so much outrage that it produces some consequences for some people. But because there are no defined mechanisms of accountability, it's not like the public has an opportunity to say, okay, we're going to prosecute this person. We're going to let them go through these different stages of due process. They can present evidence. We'll present evidence and go to a jury. Like that nobody believes that exists. We have this class. It's a global class that exists outside of democracy. And that, if you believe that some people are going to go down for this unfairly, like that is why. And something then needs to be done about that. There's this old saying that, we'll either get socialism or barbarism. In this case, I would say you either get accountability or barbarism, or democracy or barbarism. And so if there are elites right now who don't like what they think of as a barbaric response to the barbaric behavior that the public has seen going on, with impunity inside these elite circles, then you need to address the fact that there is this class that operates separately from all of us. It needs to be broken up. It can't exist. We don't have a democratic government if a class like this can exist.
That's very interesting, Emily, because this, at its heart, the whole Epstein scandal is about, I think, a revulsion with this kind of elitism. There is, I think most Americans are feeling that.
I completely agree. And a lot of Ryan's reporting at Drop Site that I'm sure he'll talk about goes into how anti-democratic a lot of the activities that were being organized by Jeffrey Epstein, by Ehud Barak, by many, many other people. I mean, one of the more interesting things, if you spend time in the Justice Department's library, is you just kind of get a sense of the social circle around Jeffrey Epstein, who's emailing him most, and also Jmail over at Drop Site. You can literally be in a facsimile of his inbox. And so you see the circle of people like Reid Hoffman, Bill Gates. Bill Gates' second in command, essentially the Norwegian prime minister, who is now in big trouble. Tom Pritzker, who resigned as executive chair of Hyatt just yesterday. Larry Summers, Kathy Rumler being a very good example. Jess Staley. I mean, this is his tight inner ring, and they're making decisions about global politics and business like it's a sandbox that they're playing in. And you see, I mean, there are all kinds of specific examples, but the complete picture is just how undemocratic the process is in some of these decisions that they were making. And it's completely disgusting how flippant they are about some of those decisions, how much they profited from some of those decisions, as Ryan has reported out. And yeah, the evidence is, if you're a member of the public and you're looking at this and you felt already disillusioned about the state of America, you're going to leave feeling even more disillusioned.
Mm-hmm. I know I don't want to beat up too much on Deepak Chopra, Michael, but it's just perfect for this story that even that guy was in there looking to Epstein for advice on whether he's eternal. Your take on these files and what we've seen.
Yeah. Hey, Megyn, great to be with you guys. And yeah, I mean, I agree with Emily and Ryan. I mean, and you, I mean, this is a glimpse into the serious corruption of our ruling elites. The behavior here is just awful. There's no other word for it. I do think that we have to distinguish between two different sets of things. I mean, I think one is Epstein's relationships with the intelligence community, his relationships with the Department of Justice. I think one of the most important of these messages that we saw in the most recent release is the fact that Epstein was paid $25 million by Ariana de Rothschild to settle a Department of Justice claim. And then another 10 million went to his attorney and friend, Catherine Rumler, who was
Rumler.
Yeah, that was the U.S. attorney or was the White House attorney under Barack Obama. She just stepped down from Goldman Sachs. Yeah. What's going on there exactly? I mean, we have,
she was, according to that email, it looked like she was facing an $85 million fine potentially. And somehow Epstein and Rumler, his BFF, intervened to get it cut down to $45 million. And so she then paid him $25 and Rumler $10. But Rumler all along has been like, I barely knew him. Oh, really? Okay. I don't usually get $10 million from people I barely know, but okay.
Well, Rumler was also exchanging extremely intimate emails with Epstein about her personal life, and in addition to all kinds of professional stuff. But that is obviously facially ridiculous.
And she's all over those tapes that we broke, that we reported on, that I heard, with Rumler, Bannon, and Epstein. She's all over these tapes. She's advising Epstein on how to rehab his image. And they do a mock 60 Minutes type sit down where Bannon cross-examines him. She's totally in on it. She wants him to be rehabilitated. This is post the Miami Herald reporting in 2018. Michael, you were saying, sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, no, it's okay. Yeah, I think there's this, he also talked about Bill Barr as CIA. We know, thanks in part to Ryan's reporting, we know that Epstein, had as a client Adnan Khashoggi, who was a central player in the the illegal Iran-Contra scandal of the 1980s involving that the CIA oversaw. Rumler emailed Epstein to say that she got this, the highest award from within the CIA. That's a secret award, by the way, and she felt comfortable telling Epstein about it. Epstein referred to going
on an open
into
email. Yeah.
What's that?
On an open email.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right
yeah,
after, by the way,
right?
her job in the Obama White House, I'm sorry, keep it right, but her job in the Obama White House was to, at one point, deal with the fallout from the Snowden scandal. So she leaves the White House and then goes and gets an award from John Brennan at the CIA. And as Ryan said, on an open email, brags to Epstein about it. It's an interesting sequence of events.
The torture report.
She's looking for a little pat on the head, Ryan. She's like, oh, hey, look what I got, Daddy. And he doesn't respond. But you give us context for that, Ryan.
She also played a role. The White House suppressed the torture report. There's even a Hollywood movie about it now. But yeah, they put together this many hundred pages report about the torture that the U.S. had been engaged in during the Bush administration, and the Obama administration worked extremely hard to suppress it on behalf of Brennan and the CIA. That was an intense mission that they undertook, and I would suspect that Rumler's role in that also contributed to her winning this award. But sorry, Michael, you were.
I think that for me, the big story remains Epstein's relationship to the intelligence community, to the U.S. government. He had a fake passport in the 1980s. That's just not an obvious thing that someone would have working in finance. He refers repeatedly to going
Saudi
into
passport.
What's that?
It was a Saudi passport, wasn't it?
It was an Austrian passport, but with a Saudi address, right?
Yes.
Oh. Like, who gets that? How do you, I'm sure all three of you have an extra passport from another country. What is that? Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.